think a lot of people think I must spend a lot of time with media or on businessy things, but actually almost all my time, like 80% of it is spent on engineering and design.
Yeah, 2008, we had the third consecutive failure of the Falcon 1 rocket for SpaceX. Tesla almost went bankrupt. We closed our financing round 6 p.m. Christmas Eve, 2008. It was the last hour of the last day that it was possible. We would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas otherwise. And I got divorced. That was like rough. Man, permanent scar tissue there. Yeah, I mean, SpaceX is alive by the skin of its teeth, so is Tesla. If things had just gone a little bit the other way, both companies would be dead. And I had, like, one of the most difficult choices I ever faced in life was in 2008. I think I had maybe $30 million left, or $30 or $40 million left in 2008. And I had two choices. I could put it all into one company, and then the other company would definitely die, or split it between the two companies. But if I split it between the two companies, then both might die. And when you put your blood, sweat, and tears into creating something, or building something, it's like a child. And so it's like, which one am I going to let one starve to death? I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I split the money between the two. Fortunately, thank goodness, they both came through.
Elon Musk is one of the most successful businessmen of our time, but he didn't always have success. He wasn't sure that his companies were ever going to take off. You may not know this, but many of his SpaceX rockets failed, and Tesla was once on the verge of bankruptcy. He says that you have to accept that failure is part of starting something new, especially when you're an entrepreneur. But you can't be afraid to try and try again until you do reach success. Elon never expected to be involved in all of his current businesses, but he always had big dreams and pursued all of them, although along the way he had many failures. His advice? Don't be scared of the failures. You will fail, but it's how you get up and try again that will help you to succeed.
I think there's like some entropic basis for this. Like, there are many more ways to fail than to succeed. So you have to explore. Particularly like for a rocket, there's like 1,000 ways to think and fail, and like one way it can work. You could have a lot of rocket failures to explore all the ways in which it could fail. So, but I do think that one great thing about Silicon Valley is that failure is not a big stigma. So it's like if you try hard and it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like, you can learn from that and do another company, and it's not a big deal. And I think that's really one of the great things about Silicon Valley. I mean, I think it's like quite painful and difficult, honestly, and it feels terrible. The company's sort of looking to me to rally them, and so I do. But I honestly feel super bad. It's particularly with rockets. It's just space is hard, and rockets tend to fail, unfortunately. And even when you've got like a lot of really smart people working super hard to minimize the probability of failure, it's still there, and it's quite significant.
I think there's definitely a philanthropic element, and there's I think in general people want to do the right thing and they want to do what's good. The issue we have right now is that the rules fundamentally favor the bad outcome. So when you're fighting for the good outcome and it's an uphill battle, it's just slower. So with respect to climate change, it's just critical that the government is the setter of rules. The government decides what rules companies will play by, and if we currently have a system which massively incents bad behavior. So even if most people don't do the bad behavior, some people will still do the bad behavior. Yeah, I mean, money and prices are basically just an information mechanism. They're just basically, they tell you, money's mostly an information mechanism for labor allocation, and for and sort of tells companies what to do. So it's just critical. This is why it's so critical that action be taken at a government level, because the government is the one, they're setting the rules of the game, and it's just crazy to have the rules of the game favor a bad outcome.
Well, I think first of all I should say that I did not expect to be involved in all these things. So the 5 things that I thought about at the time in college, quite a long time ago, 25 years ago, making life multiplanetary, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, the internet, broadly speaking, and then genetics and AI. I think I didn't expect to be involved in all of those things. I actually, at the time in college, I sort of thought helping with electrification of cars was how I would start out, and that's actually what I worked on as an intern, was advanced ultracapacitors to see if they would be a breakthrough relative to batteries for energy storage in cars. And then when I came out to go to Stanford, that's what I was going to be doing my grad studies on, was working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric cars. And then I put that on hold to start an internet company in '95, because there does seem to be like a time for particular technologies when they're at a steep point in the inflection curve. And do a PhD at Stanford and watch it all happen. And I wasn't entirely certain that the technology I'd be working on would actually succeed. Like you can get a doctorate on many things that ultimately do not have a practical bearing on the world.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.